Hey, in this video I'll be teaching you how to play some bar chords and common mistakes that people make while playing them. Get your guitar and let's learn. So first off, what is a bar chord? A bar chord is a chord that you play using all your fingers, but your pointer finger will be across all strings, so when you play, it'll be pressed down and you'll use the rest of your fingers to play a chord like E minor or E or A minor. It depends on what you're trying to play. Normally, we would play E or E minor when using all 6 strings and playing A or A minor when we're using 5 strings. Now that we know this, let's move on to learning a chord. Okay, so the first chord we're going to learn is the F chord. First, we want to make sure our hands are going to be in the right position. So you want your thumb to be in the middle of the back part of the guitar. So it's in the middle so you get enough power when you're pushing down using your fingers. So your pointer finger will be on the first fret, pressed up as hard as possible, using your thumb to have more power. And you want to make sure that half of the top part of your finger over here is above the fretboard. So you can try playing that using a lot of power from your thumb and finger. And you want to not get any of those buzzing noises that make it sound bad. So put all of your power and just try playing it. This may be a bit hard if you're a beginner, but over time you'll get used to getting this hand placement and then moving your other fingers to another spot. So you want to make sure that you practice putting your finger on different frets and using that to play chords. So to play the F chord, we're going to put our pointer finger on the first fret, and then we're going to put our middle finger on the 3rd string 2nd fret over here, and then we're gonna put our ring and pinky finger on the 5th and 4th strings, both on the 3rd fret. So you want to make sure that there is no buzzing when you're playing them, and try to press as hard as possible. And if you hear buzzing, just try to adjust your fingers so that changes and play the chord. So another chord we can learn is the B minor chord. It's very similar to the F chord, but you just move your fingers down by 1 string. So your pointer finger doesn't start on the 1st fret this time, but it starts on the 2nd. So you can put your finger there, and then you can put your 3 fingers in the F chord position, which will sound a little different since it's not on the right fret. But if you move all your fingers down a little bit and you play that, then you're playing a B minor chord. So a harder chord to learn is the B chord. It's similar to the B minor chord, just a few finger placements are a bit different. So you can put your pointer finger on the 2nd fret like before, but this time your 3 fingers are going to go in the A position on the 4th fret. So you're going to start with your pinky finger on the 2nd string, your ring finger on the 3rd string, and your middle finger on the 4th string. It's going to be a bit of a stretch, but over time, if after you practice, it's going to get a bit easier. So you can just press really hard and play that. You want to try to not get the buzzing, so you want to make sure your fingers are close to the line and that you press really hard. One thing to know when practicing your hand positions and using your pinky is that you can use a capo to replace your finger. So if I put my hand in the F chord position and I just put my pointer finger on top, you'll be playing the F chord, but it'll just be easier since you don't have to focus on your pointer finger and all the buzzing. So you can get used to the hand positions and using your pinky just to make sure that you don't mess up and that you can focus more on your other fingers instead of your pointer finger all the time. A cool trick to note is if you put your fingers in the F chord position, you'll be playing an F chord. If you move it up a fret, then you'll be playing an F sharp chord. And if you move it up again, you'll be playing a G chord. If you move it up again, a G minor chord. There is a chart here that you can get used to and memorize, and in songs you'll be able to use this to play any chord you'd like. One common mistake that people make while playing bar chords is that they'll just learn their first chord and they'll go on to playing a lot of songs that include those chords, but that's not very good when you're changing between a bar chord and an open chord. For example, changing between the F chord and the C chord. It can get really challenging when you're playing them really quickly, and if you're playing them in songs, it requires very fast chord changes. So you may not be able to do that yet as a beginner. So you want to make sure that you practice a lot, just moving this chord position on different frets, making sure that your hand placement stays the same and that there's no buzzing. Some other tips to know is that your thumb should be arched at the back and not straight, just to make sure that you have the right amount of power and hand position so it doesn't buzz while you're playing. Another thing to note is that you should be using your forearm power and not just your hand to get enough power to press down on all of the strings so that it doesn't buzz and just gives you a bad sound. You also want to make sure that you practice a lot. Try to practice every day. Your fingers may hurt, but it's very good to practice this so you can get used to the hand placements, and over time it'll just become a second nature to you. That's it for this video. I hope you practice playing bar chords and get used to it, because it's one of the hardest things to learn when playing the guitar. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.